Alright, it is time to take a break from our regular projects. We got to do something here. We're going to do a horsepower test. Well, I call it the horsepower test. It's really, we're going to test how much pulling power we have. Okay? So we're going to do our pulling power test. This is the dual motor DD35B that I've been working on for somebody, and it's pretty much ready to roll. We're going to find out how strong it is. And to compare it, I've got here a blue box GP38-2. And I think it works. I don't remember if I added weight to it or not. I probably did, because I definitely I tuned up the trucks and everything. Should be ready to go. We're going to find out. Let's find out if it works first. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe I put it on the shelf. It was either maybe it's taking up too much space, or maybe it just didn't work. But let's find out. Let's see here. Okay, she does work. Yep, so it's tuned up and ready to roll. Alright, so to compare these two, I'm going to take a little scale here. Let's weigh them in ounces. Okay? The 38 weighs in at 13.12 ounces. Okay? The 35 without its shell weighs in at 23.17 ounces. Okay. There, now we know our weights. What I'm going to use is a little Newton scale. Got two of them here. The white one is heavier. It starts at, like the first one here is 250 grams, which is 2.5 newtons. The one we're going to use to test is that green one. That one starts, the first mark is at, well, the first number is at 50. So it goes up to 500 grams, which is 5 newtons. Whereas this one goes up to 30 newtons. Let's see what the GP38 can pull. Let's find out how much power it has. Making a little database, and later I'll be able to use that to figure out how much we can measure the weight of some trains, especially with that big white scale. That can tell us how many grams it takes to pull a train. And then we can have a chart and check out our locomotives. For now, let's see what we can pull with this. We'll pull him till he spins. Alright, slipping at 100 grams, which is 1 newton. That's what we pull with this. Okay? So the GP38, I'm going to mark them down as pulling. We'll do it in grams. I don't know what that is in real measurements, but anyways, it's 100 grams, or it's 1 newton. Alright, now let's put on the DD35B. Let's make sure. Okay, on this one, how do you tell which way is the front and which way is the back? Without the shell on, what you're looking for is this little knob right here. Oh, you can't see that. There's a knob right here. That knob is the front with no shell on it. So, put them in. Oh, okay, here's the problem with these. So, we just came unlinked, and that is a major problem with these. That tells me that this shaft right here is too short. I should put in a longer shaft, which I'm going to have to do. The other problem with these is when you pick them up, they will come out. of their socket. I have not found a really good solution. And of course it came undone again. What I'm going to have to do, I'll get this in here and we'll be able to find out how much power it has. Then I'm going to have to replace this shaft with a longer shaft. Alright, come on. Let's get you lined up. We got you. That is a very... This one was cut off. This was found at a train show. And this is totally a homemade job. I think when we were doing the handrails... Okay, that's enough of that. Out you come. Yeah, coming off. Alright, yeah. If I didn't point this out before, these flywheels are from a GP35. What they did was they took two GP35s, chopped up the shells, took at the end of the original body and the end of an SDP40, and they made two ends, and they put the 35 bodies in between. They kept the motors and the flywheels, so they had to do a bunch of milling here. If you get a DD40 that has flywheels in it, they're not going to be this big. Then they also made this linkage in between. Now there was a time when Athearn did do that, and then there were problems. So they took it out, and normally you see them without the linkage in the middle. Oh, don't even tell me. All right, we gotta solder a joint, and we gotta do this. Let's heat her up. We gotta solder the joint here in a second, as soon as we get some heat. All right, so let's connect it. There we go. Okay, it's all connected up, but we need this power right here. So while we're waiting, let's replace this piece of tape, which is definitely not doing its job. Cut off. I like to keep these wires taped up like that, so that sometimes the flywheel will drag wires up against the shell, and that does nothing but cause problems. And all you need to do is take a piece of... Oh, we need solder that guy. That means we need this guy to heat up right now. We'll hold on to our tape right here. Get ourselves a little of this puke looking stuff. Rosin. It was getting kind of crappy, so I put it in the microwave and melted it down a little bit. So it's good to go now. Alright. Let's see if we can get this thing here soldered up. Okay, let's get this guy back connected. Not quite hot enough. There we go. There we go. Back in business. Let's put that piece of tape on here. We got to get back to our testing. I want the tape long enough so it sticks to itself. There. Alright, we're ready to roll again. Now I'm going to carefully set this on the track. Here's the front. I want to reverse it so that the front is going forward when it's pulling. All right, so where were we? What did we say we weighed in? We're about 10 ounces more than the GP38. Will that mean we got a lot more power? Let's find out. Okay, let's hit it. Slipping at 150. Oh yeah, look at them gears turn. We did a good job on these trucks. A little more than 150. Just about we're just going to roughly call it 150. Okay, so it comes in at 150. It is 50% more powerful than the GP38. So what exactly does that mean? Is it 2 locomotives powerful? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see if we can find another locomotive. We'll add it in there, and then we'll check to see if it's 2 locomotives more powerful. What do we got over here? Oh, we got this guy. We got this guy. I don't know what it's called, but it is a GenSet on top of an Atas SD24. So let's weigh it in. Weighs in at 12 ounces. Okay, we'll go down here at the GenSet. Comes in at 12 ounces. 12.26, 12 and a quarter ounces. So we got 12 and a quarter ounces. Let's see what he can pull. Okay, now it has 6 axles instead of 4 like the GP38, but what does it pull? $120. Whoa, for being lightweight, this thing pulls 120. It's got good traction, evidently. Okay, now, so we've got 120, and what did the 38 pull? 100. Let's hook these two together. Now let's see what we get. This is how we're going to compare to this 35. 35 has 2 motors. But it's not as powerful as 2 locomotives. And I'll show you what. I'll show you its magic in a second here. Let's see what these 2 guys can pull. Oh. Backed up. Alright, let's couple up. Where did I get these springs? I got them on eBay. You can get them from science stores. Okay. Is everybody on the track? Yep. Maybe. Okay, now we go. Let's go. Let's hit it. Two locomotives are pulling 200. Okay. So the 38 by itself pulled 100. The GenSet pulled 120. They're not cumulative. They didn't add up to 220. They added up to 200. And that's kind of the way it goes. It's not additive. As you get more and more, this spring, it gets harder and harder to pull. So now let's see What does the 38 pull with the DD35 with both of them together? Are we seated? Yep. Hook up. Okay. What do these two pull together? They're pulling 250. Together, those two pull 250. .38 and 35, they pull 250. That's pretty good. Now, this thing's got 8 axles. One of the things with 8 axles, I've got weights in the shell. So let's get the shell out. I'm not going to seat it, but I am going to set it on there. Let's weigh it. Shell's going to weigh in at 5.63. So I'm going to add 5.63 ounces to the 35. Okay. Okay, let's take the 38 off and see what it does by itself. With the shell on, it pulls 200. $200 is what these two together pull. So now we're talking about this thing is as powerful as 2 locomotives. Now let's see what happens if I put the 38 on. See what kind of a pull we can get. Everybody ready? Okay, let's hit it. Now we are pulling 300. That's a lot. That's a 20% increase over the without the shell. So, one last test. I'm sure you want to know it. What happens when we put all 3 on here? What can we pull with 3 of them? One time I put 4 AHM GP18s on here, and they just pulled a ridiculous number. Alright, so let's see. What are these guys going to pull all together? All together, we are pulling 400. 4 newtons. Now that's a big number. That's kind of the magic of that DD35. It really adds extra power. The 38 and the GenSet together, 6 axles and 4 axles, so 10 axles, they pulled 200. The 35 and the 38 with the shell on pulled 300. All these together pulled 400. So maybe later we'll put a chart of some math. That's some big power right there. So that's impressive. I call that good to go.